Okay, folks, turn 82. All bad news, once again. We keep losing forts, we keep losing provinces. Not a whole lot we can do about that. Pan has actually taken Well of Misery. So, interesting. So, Pan is definitely on the up and up here. Upkeep cost, a whole bunch of units are deserting because our income is so low. We foresaw a great disaster and stopped it, which is nice. Batagne has been breached. We're under siege in Oak Beach, but they can't harm the walls. There's nothing we can do about Batagne, like, really. We're sneaking Bifrons over there to see if we can assassinate somebody after they capture the fortress. We've moved our army to retake Panofia, and now we're actually striking out into Jotunheim's territory in an effort to kind of ward them off a little bit. And Satis is just overrunning the border on this side. Zenthra is besieged. I do have a pretty significant number of mages in there. Not many troops, but some mages. Well, I've got about 80 troops. So I might be able to make something of a stand here at the Golden Throne. Hopefully. And we've got a big ol' army and a big passel of mages here in Tianqi. So we've got some resources in here. You know, you can see we have a lot of troops and we have a lot of mages, so we'll be able to do some kind of defense there. We're under siege by a Wraith Lord up here. That's whatever. Like, he's just besieging us. That's okay. Kind of to be expected. And, well, our income is still lower than our upkeep, so we will be losing more troops in the coming turns, unfortunately. Yeah, we're trying to cast Blood Vortex again. I'm not sure if it's going to go through, but here's hoping. All of these, of course, are pretty high level and probably cast pretty overcast. Guardians of the Deep might not be, but it just kind of depends on which one we hit to overpower with the Blood Vortex. I'm overcasting the Blood Vortex by like 50 slaves, so might do. I just had to do it because I'm running out of everything. There's no possibility that I'll be able to wait much longer. Still blood hunting in this fort. Actually, she should be blood hunting. Still blood hunting in Tianqi. We've retaken Ulm, and everyone is actually waiting while Ba casts Gift of Reason on this Jotun Wolf to turn him back into a Scrati. And we've got some troops down here just kind of hanging out, and we'll see. Let's be real, I'm not really putting a huge amount of effort into this anymore, just because we're doomed. But I'm going to try and connect our armies and accomplish something with our enormous doom stack of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of troops. Maybe we can march up there and see if we can take Shinuyama, or maybe we could just fight a climactic battle at Tianqi if anyone will cooperate with that. But in any case, that's turn 82. I'll see you all next time. Alright, folks, Mandala turn 84. We've had construction level 8, which is kind of cool, although not really useful. I did stale last turn, which is why we don't have a video for turn 83. But I got Blood Vortex up. So now I'm summoning a whole bunch of blood slaves out of the ether every turn, which is pretty nice. Blood hunt, please. It doesn't say what the income is, but I just assume it's working. It should be working. I have it, so... yeah, eventually when no life is... So yeah, we should have blood slaves. Now, of course, this is an Order 3 province, which is sad for Blood Vortex, but, you know, it'll still give us something. I do have about 100 blood slaves, so I'm starting to spam out Infernal Crusade, and I'm also empowering Bayar al-Adhu, because Bayar al-Adhu will be useful for doing vampires, and I've lost everybody else who could potentially do vampires. We're going to assassinate somebody with Bifrons, because that's sort of hilarious. This army is going to march down here to attack this province and probably die. It's been the victim of some assassination attempts. We have some Jotun scouts attacking our commanders here. And those Jotun scouts have the Shrouds of the Battle Saint, so they have the Blessing, and they have Flesh Eaters and the Black Hearts. So they can just kind of charge in with their powerful magic attacks. And yeah, that. Although that Jotun scout, we did set him on fire pretty well, but he's regenerating. Because regeneration is part of the bless, so being on fire is not enough to kill him. Sadly. We got close, but didn't quite manage it. Troops, of course, are deserting en masse, which is a little bit of a problem, but we have a whole bunch of magical units we're summoning up here, and like I said, we're going to start spamming out Demon Knights, so our armies are going to be replaced with Demon Knights as rapidly as we can manage. From Bixie. Bixie's going to be casting Infernal Crusade. He gets 12 Demon Knights per cast, and so he's just going to do that forever as far as I'm concerned. We can put that hat in there. Also, we also have our good friend Vale down here. We'll put the dragon helmet on him. So he's highly fire and cold resistant, which is nice. He's got good prot, good defense and attack skills. He's got a Frostbrand plus his bite attack. He's also got some Blood Slaves, so he's going to cast damage reversal since I'm at high level blood. And he'll just go rampaging around until he dies, which will happen pretty soon. But yeah, should be a good time. I don't know what happened to my devil, Gop, that was in Hell. I think he's dead. I think Gop is dead. I think he popped back up last turn when I didn't actually get to play the turn and just died. So, you know, c'est la vie, c'est la guerre. Now, over here in Zenthra, we are being attacked. 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 blood mages. So I'll tell you what. Actually, I'm going to take the blood slaves away from him. We're going to give them to our ladies over here because you need one to be a Sabbath slave. But actually, okay, so... because what I want is... I want to be spamming life for a life. Because life for a life just straight up kills people. So yeah, Sabbath slave. 1 for you. 1 for you. Then you can go Sabbath Master life for a life. Sabbath Master... Leech is fine and all, but really what I want is life for a life. So how many do we have again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can only have 1 life for a life caster. Unless, oh no. No. We can have all 5 of them actually. Because we have all these astral mages. So we can just have every one of these ladies go Sabbath Master. And then in terms of slaves, for communion slaves, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 communion slaves. And then we still have a whole bunch of mages, actually. So if we go Sabbath Master... well, okay, so here's the thing. Casting life for a life with communion slaves will destroy the communion very, very quickly. Actually, here's a better idea. We Sabbath slave up most of these ladies. We have 1 master, and the job of the master is to cast Reinvigoration a couple of times. And then we have you're a communion slave, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we are going to gifts from 11, 12. Yeah, and then we're going to have a whole bunch of gifts from heaven. Now, instead of temper flesh, you should power of the spheres, which is going to require an astral pearl. And you should summon earth power. And then you should iron skin. And you should personal luck. And you should... body ethereal is not going to work in the communion. You should resist magic. Okay. Now, Ratheldun here can actually... tell you what, he can Phoenix power... he could actually stay outside of the communion if he wanted to. But it would be easier to have him be a communion master. And then with his 3-path boost... he's going to be Astral 6, so he can actually cast Will of the Fates if I have the pearls for it. And I would like to do that. So Will of the Fates, we're going to need to alchemize here. Yeah, just alchemize all these gems that I'm not really gonna need right now. We're just setting up to cause damage, to be honest. Will of the Fates will help us cause damage. So you can have 5 pearls there for your Will of the Fates. You can be a Communion Master as well. And you can cast... what? I just alchemized all my fire gems, didn't I? What have we got coming in against us here? Elite Warriors, Long Dead Horsemen, Falchineers, Slave Warriors, Sacred Servants. Ooh, yeah, Firestorm. Definitely, definitely. Very Firestorm. Very, very Firestorm. So you're going to be Fire 5, right? There you go. Firestorm. All the gems, so you'll be able to cast... actually, I'd love to give you a fire booster if I had one, but I don't think I have one right now. So yeah, you'll only be able to use 5 gems on it, but that's fine. So you'll use your 5 gems on Firestorm. That will probably explode the Communion, to be honest, because it's 500 fatigue divided among, like, what is it, 10 slaves, so it's 50 and then doubled. Like, that's going to hit the Communion really, really hard. And on top of that, if we're casting Firestorm, we need a fire resistance spell. So, plus we have Will of the Fates here. What's the... Sorry, things are flying all around me. Fire Fend. That's it. That's what I need to cast here. So I need Fire Fend. Means we don't actually need these, but we do need that. And then we also need, if we're doing this, if we're going in with the fire, we also need Heat from Hell. I mean, we might as well, right? There's no reason not to cast Heat from Hell if we're doing all this. That requires Fire 4, but only 2 gems. So you can actually Phoenix Power and Heat from Hell without being in the Communion. Now, Heat from Hell will be largely counteracted by the fact that it's Cold 3 because of the Illwinter. But it will still do something. It will still be effective-ish. And I need more fire gems, so yeah, do that. Alright, so Heat from Hell. That requires 2 gems, but you can actually use 3, so give you 3. Okay. And yeah, I think that will probably be about the best we can do. We might cause some damage. That's kind of the goal here. So you are going to be way up front on hold and attack close. You are going to be right behind on hold and fire close. Flaming arrows actually could be effective here, because we've got this large army, but, you know, the Firestorm is going to be a lot more effective. Against Long Dead Horsemen especially, Long Dead Horsemen will get melted by Firestorm, unless they have, you know, a counter built up, like, ready to go. And then I'd also like, if I could... We've got Yuna casting Howl, but I just don't have the gems for it, so she can just, like, be there. Power of the Spheres. What I also actually need is... I need... Serpent's Blessing on this gang, because they're probably going to drop Foul Vapors. Like, there's no real reason for them not to drop Foul Vapors. And Serpent's Blessing requires... Nature 4, but only 1 gem. So as long as I have Nature 3, I can do it, which means I can go down here, take that away. Give that to you. And then you can cast Serpent's Blessing right off the bat. And we'll just give you all the nature gems. That will leave you with 1 gem at Nature 3. Which means you should be able to cast... What else? Foul Vapors, ironically. Yeah, I could actually cast Foul Vapors myself. It just wouldn't affect them. That's the thing. Then what we can do is we can actually cast the Ravenous Swarm. Yeah, Serpent's Blessing, Ravenous Swarm. Mages, I should spread out. Just doop, boop, 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 boop. We're gonna have a whole lot of buffs on these mages, so they shouldn't be terribly vulnerable to, like, wolves from Howl or anything. Just because they're highly resistant to things, basically. Because they'll have luck, they'll have 20 Nat Prot, they'll have Temper Flesh. They've got a lot of good stuff. Obviously, I am still going to lose this. Like, I'm not going to hold this fortress, even with this combination of spells, by no means. But I'll hopefully cause some disproportionate damage. In the meantime, that's that's the turn, basically. This is actually a much longer episode than I thought this would be. Not really doing anything from the capital, just empowering Beiratu. And, yeah. Oh, I actually need to give some, I actually need to deploy my Blood Slaves. So you're going to be Sabbath Master, then you can cast what? There's no real blood spells that I want you to cast. You can just cast Reinvigoration right away once. Where'd it go? There it is. Cast Reinvigoration. And then cast... cast... Shouldn't I have Pillar of Fire? Maybe not. Cast Prison of Fire once, and then cast... Oh, actually, we can just have you... No, I don't have any fire gems left. Just drop Falling Fires. And then Reinvigoration again. There you go. That'll be good. Okay. Alright, that's the plan. Actually, I do have fire gems. Yeah, I might as well drop Flaming Arrows, like there's no reason not to then. So Flaming Arrows, and then Reinvigoration, and then cast spells. There we are. That should keep the Communion running for a little while. And, I could cast Phoenix Pyre on this Communion, actually. That's an option. Reinvigoration, and then maybe Phoenix Pyre round 5. Actually, Phoenix Pyre and then Reinvigoration. Sure, why not? No harm in it. Might help get the exploding going on. We've already got a lot of fire resistance, so we should be fine. All right. That's the plan. Now, actually, do I have a prot buff? Yeah, I have Iron Skin on my Communion Slaves. Plus, I have the fire resistance from Fire Fend, which is only 5, but let's scatter out a little bit further to make the Communion more annoying to hunt down and kill. Because, like, they're going to be coming through the gate, so they're going to be hitting the infantry first and probably chewing through them pretty quickly. That actually is the downside of this whole plan here. It relies on the battle being long, and the battle's not going to be long because the infantry are just going to die in pretty short order, since I don't have a whole lot of actual buffs for them. But with the gifts from heaven, we might be able to smack enough the people attacking them that they last a few rounds at least, and even a few rounds will burn down Long Dead Horseman, unless he's really well prepped. So, that's turn 84. I'll see y'all in turn 85.
Alright, folks, it's turn 86 of Mandala, and you know what, to be honest, I'm gonna call it here. I could, yes, I have this big stack in my capital, and I could kind of fight to the last here, and I think I probably will keep playing, but I think I'm going to stop recording at this point, because, let's be honest, these players are not actually going to let me do the thing. They're not going to let me have my, the glorious death in battle. They're just going to whittle me down, which is fair. I mean, that's the safe way to do it. That's the way to play Dominions, is you just grind your opponents down in the late game without having climactic battles unless you're 100% absolutely sure that you're going to win with no effort. So I can't blame them for that. It is a little bit disappointing, but at this point my income is very low. I think I staled last turn because I've gotten very busy and my health has not been good this year. And so, this winter, rather. And so I'm a little bit struggling. Also, this game has gone on for so long. Turn 86, I'm honestly very much starting to flag. You may have probably noticed. After about turn 70 or so in games, I really start losing interest. I get bored with them. And that's just a fact about me. It's not, you know, it doesn't have anything to do, there's nothing wrong with the players, there's nothing wrong with the game. Well, there is something wrong with Dominions, I would say, in that it goes this long, and the turns take a long time, and it becomes boring. But, yeah, very late game Dominions has never really appealed to me. So I've got the Blood Vortex. If something very cool happens in the next few turns that I'm playing here before I die, I'll let you know. But for right now, I think we should consider this a loss. I think we should consider this the end of the series, because, like I said, I'm just not enjoying it very much anymore. I am summoning a vampire, But, yeah, about all I've got going for me right now is the Blood Vortex in Tianqi. And a Blood Vortex alone does not a nation make. And once I'm in these situations where there's no way of coming back from this, like, at best, I could stand here, standing my ground, fighting to the bitter end, and I could maybe, potentially, end up still alive by the time somebody wins. But pretty soon the Cataclysm is going to happen, I think, and it's just going to be... Cataclysm turn 100, so yeah, in another 14 turns we're going to have the Cataclysm. So if I survive for 14 turns, then I get to have the joys of the Cataclysm and horrors attacking everyone. Yay! Nah, that doesn't sound like a good time to me. So, we're going to call it quits here. A little bit of a disappointing ending to the series, I suppose, but the writing's been on the wall for a while. We had some fun. We had a good battle with, we had a good little war with Shinuyama, which I lost mainly due to my stubborn insistence on Doomstack tactics and bad SCs versus his very cunning use of thugs and remote attack spells. And we're, yeah, it's time to say goodbye to the Middle Kingdom, folks. The realm of Fisher King, the glorious high scales realm of Fisher King has crumbled to irrelevance in the face of the Doom, the face of the Illwinter, dropped by Jotunheim. I'm very impressed with Jotunheim, by the way. Elf Poser has done a very good job. He was almost eliminated fairly early on, and then he fought his way back, and he became a power. Like, he's got Ashdod's capital. He's got all kinds of shit. He's got good blood going on, a strong blood economy. You could tell because he cast Illwinter. He's got a lot of stuff going. Of course, Pangaea is, I think... Well, actually, to be honest, I think Pangaea is now probably second. I mean, Pangaea has Gift of Health, Well of Misery, and Earthblood Deepwell, so his gem income is crazy. And in his dominion, his armies are going to be almost impossible to defeat. But Satis is actually, I think, larger at this point. And Satis has a lot of immortals, and Satis is just a very strong nation. I think Satis probably has an excellent chance of pulling this out. It's definitely between Satis and Pangaea, but you can see Satis already has 3 thrones. So the Crystal, the Eternal Suffering, and the Throne of the First Age. So that's, what is that? 7 points. Pangaea has 4 points. This is going to be a long one. Like, and this is one reason why, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying I'm bowing out now. Because I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the thrones, and I'm like, nobody is going to fucking win this game for another 20 turns. If not more. Unless somebody is set up right now for the mother of all throne rushes, it's not going to happen. Because the thrones are just too scattered. Elf Poser has got the Throne of the Moon over here. That's one of Satis' thrones there, the Golden Throne, so Satis is about to get that. That will push him closer to winning. That's one of his thrones he's already got there. I think he's got that one. But if you look at how the thrones are arranged, let's actually turn off everything except thrones. So we can see how they're arranged. So you can see Satis has got kind of these thrones near him. And that throne. But after that, he's got that one. So that's 5. But he needs at least... He needs, like, 9 thrones in order to win. In fact, I think you do need 9 thrones in order to win. And a lot of them are underwater, where there are still water nations, where he's not going to be able to get them easily. So there's 3 thrones underwater. And the other thrones are guarded by Shinuyama, who is still solid, Pangaea, Jotunheim, who is still solid in here somewhere. It's not going to be a quick end, guys. This game is going to drag on. It's already been dragging on, and it is going to drag on longer. So I think I'm going to just bow out and move on with my life right now. So in any case, thanks for watching this series. It's been interesting. I think I'll have more to say about Tianqi and Communion Nations and all of that pretty shortly. Well, I might as well go ahead and say it now. I don't like Communion Nations. Quite frankly, I'm not a big fan. I'm just not. Oh, that was wrong. I need that, and let's turn names off because that lags the game for some reason. I'm just not a big fan of Communion Nations like this. Like, I was trying it for kind of for the lulz, and the full-scales Communion Nation is a staple of Dominions 5, and Middle-Aged Tianqi is one of the best because it has Imperial Geomancers, who are like one of the top 3 value mages in the game. But that said, they're not individually powerful. Tianqi relies very heavily on its communions. You can do some stuff with Imperial Alchemists, and I should have done better with Imperial Alchemists, for one thing. You can do some stuff with Celestial Masters, but you don't really get anything above, like, 2. You get Water 3 on the occasional Celestial Master, and on literally 2% of Imperial Alchemists, you'll get Nature 3. But beyond that, it's just level 2. And so you have to, like... There's a lot of rigmarole. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through in order to actually boost up to the point where you can do something. You have to take, like, this... I would never do this again. The absolutely full scales middle-aged Tianqi, nah. I would go Heat 3 scales, and, at least, and take, like, Astral 4 or 5 on my god, specifically so that I can ramp up my Astral to forge boosters. Or I would take the paths that I need to forge a Staff of Elemental Mastery, which would be very, very potent on an Imperial Alchemist, or something like that. I would do something, because with this build, all I had was communions. There was no other high-level magic of any kind. Eventually I managed to get into blood, of course, but even so, like, after many, many turns, like 30 turns of blood or more, I've got, like, a couple of high-level blood mages and one guy who can summon vampires, and that's it. That's the whole of my blood assets. So it's just not my style. It's just not my thing. I am a giant nation player, as it were. I enjoy the nations that have a theme. The nations that have... What am I doing? I need this button. The nations that have a strength, something to like Satis has the Marsh Masters. The Marsh Masters have a lot of Death 3, a lot of Nature 3. They can random up to Death 4. They're solid. With a little bit of boosting, they can do a lot. You can look at... Not Ulm. Middle-aged Ulm sucks. Even Marignan. I mean, Marignan has Fire 4, Astral 3 on its Grand Masters, so it's not a strong nation, but it can do something there. Pangea, of course, has Nature 4, Earth 3, just right off the bat with Pans. Things like Phlegra that have the Giants with the powerful paths. Things like Jotunheim. Jotunheim has the Scrati that give you Water 3, Blood 3. They have the Gigyas, which have wide randoms, but they very often will give you 2 or 3 in something. And they can communion, and they have a lot of power because of their sorcery paths, and Jotunheim has solid blood. Ashdod, which has the Zamzamites that give you, they can give you Death 4 right off the bat. Random's fairly uncommon, so 50, 25, 25% and 50%. That's still like 1 in 7. 1 in 7 Zamzamites is Death 4. So, that's the kind of thing I enjoy playing with. Just because it takes some of the tedium out of the game. Because with a communion nation like this, you have to script fucking communions, which is a chore. Like, really a chore. My turns in this game, when I was playing more actively and had a large empire, took, I think, the longest Dominions 5 turns have ever taken me. It was even worse than Phlegra, because Phlegra's communions at least have the auto-communion slaves, so you don't have to script anything for the slave mages. They just are there. But the communion gameplay style is not really for me. I mean, a nation like Phasia, maybe, that's a giant communion nation, I could play Phasia. The communions are powerful, but they're also smaller, more limited. You don't use them quite as... I mean, you use them heavily, but it's not like this. You don't have 30 Imperial Geomancers or 16 Imperial Geomancers and then 12 Masters all on the same field casting different things, and then no big centerpiece mages. With Phasia, you have big centerpiece mages, and you have thugs, and you have giant troops, and you have communions that kind of support the whole. So it's a different story. But this gameplay style, it's just not my style. Anyway, I don't mean to complain, and I'm not trying to how do I say it? I'm not trying to push off the loss, because I definitely lost this game. This game was, I almost feel like this was kind of mine to lose. The war against Shinoyama, I could have done much better. I'm not sure I could have won against Broken 25, because he's very, very good. But I could have done a lot better than I did. Been a lot more careful with my thugs and my summons. Been a lot better about scripting my communions. What I should have done at some point was forge a bunch of slave and master matrices, just so that I could get off my mass buffs before he hit me with his battlefield-wide spells. That would have made a big difference. The war against Pangea, early in the game, I could have prosecuted that a lot better than I did. I think that one, and Jotunheim, I think I could have beaten Jotunheim if I hadn't allowed myself to get distracted into fighting first Pangaea and then Shineyama. And that was really my downfall in this game. I let myself become distracted. I allowed myself to fragment in too many directions at once, which is a tendency I have, and it's a little bit unfortunate. I kind of bounce between the two extremes. Either I let myself get fragmented way too much, fighting in way too many different places, and not finishing anything, or I monomaniacally focus on one thing, and I destroy army after army after army, trying to batter through my opposition without thinking about it. So, you know, pluses, minuses, pros, cons. Definitely not the best player out there, but I'll keep on rolling. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next series. If you enjoyed this one, consider subscribing to the channel. More will be coming, hopefully more successful series will be coming in the future, and some other games as well. So, thank you so much once again. I'll see you in the next one.